guys, today I'm here with another Oily Skin Diaries review. It is all about the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. Yeah, that's what it's called. I will have timestamps down below to guide you through the review, some shades that I am in more popular foundations, along with a blog post that includes swatches of this next to more like popular foundations in case you are trying to match yourself. This video is a collaboration with my good friend Makeup by Cheryl. Cheryl, we have collaborated before on foundation reviews as I have oily, acne-prone skin. She has a more dry skin type that's a little more flawless than mine. So if you're looking for multiple opinions on the foundation or just a great new YouTuber to watch, she is fabulous. She is Canadian as well. The most gorgeous shiny hair you've ever seen in your life, and just absolutely the sweetest, and I can't wait for us to finally get to meet in person someday. But she's amazing. I will link to her down below, but let's go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned, this is the latest foundation launch from NARS. They also at the same time launched a shade extension on their Radiant Creamy Concealer, which is a favorite of mine. This foundation retails for $49 American, $60 Canadian, and you're getting a full fluid ounce in there. Comes in a beautiful slim glass bottle, as to be expected from NARS. I mean, they kind of do a beautiful job with everything they produce. As if you haven't already seen this PR box 100,000 times over, I'm going to show you just in case, but I just wanted to show you this to demonstrate the shades that are in this foundation. So these are all the shades here from deepest to the most fair, and I end up somewhere in like kind of in the dead middle. I'm wearing Syracuse, which is medium dark 0.1. It says it's golden, or sorry, medium dark with brown undertones, I think it is, but I literally come like smack dab in the middle, which is incredible because I'm almost never smack dab in the middle of a foundation range. So there's 33 shades in the range, and it is a true range. You hear a lot of people say, oh, it has 12 shades in the range, 15 shades in the range, but is it an actual range? Most of the time, not really. So really happy to see that they have such a nice inclusive range in here from fair to deep. Of course, not everybody is going to be able to find a shade, but I think they've done a really good job and have actually tried and put some research behind it. So if you didn't already notice, I do have a lot of active breakouts on my skin, and I have been a little bit more choosy with the foundations that I've been wearing because I'm trying to find things that don't look too cakey on my skin. They're not too matte and dry. Because I do have active breakouts, it can really kind of enhance them. I have been testing this foundation out for, I mean, since I got it, so it's been 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just kind of getting around to reviewing it now, so I do have a good idea of how I feel about it, but I haven't really taken a super close look at how it wears throughout the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my face now. I will prime half of my face to see how that reacts, so let's go ahead and get into application. So I brought you in a little closer. I'm going to dot this on my skin, and one thing I'll say about this foundation is that the pumps are really small, which I don't mind at all. I'd rather the pump of product that comes out to be smaller than bigger, because that way you end up using less product and not wasting product, and then you can just kind of go in how you please. It says that it's medium buildable coverage, a natural finish, and good for basically all skin types. It says like sensitive, normal, dry, oily. And their kind of claim is that it's a 16-hour wear foundation that looks just as good at the end of the day, and it's supposed to look kind of fresh and skin-like on your skin as opposed to heavy or cakey. And it also says it's transfer and sweat resistant as well. I haven't played a ton with NARS foundations. I reviewed the stick foundation. I feel like I was one of the only people in the world who liked that stick foundation. I feel like a lot of people were expecting to get full coverage out of it, and it's not a full coverage stick, so I could appreciate that, but a lot of people had a lot of issues with it. So I enjoyed that. I have the NARS matte tint as well if you'd like to see a review on that, but I didn't review the other foundation that came out in a bottle like this, or the Sheer Glow. I remember always wanting the Sheer Glow when I first started watching YouTube like 6 years ago, because it was all anybody could talk about. But there you can see it on my skin. So that was 3 pumps, but keep in mind the pumps, like that was barely even 1 pump of the average foundation. And I think it did a really good job. I'm using a brush. You can use a sponge, but a brush for me is my preferred application. And where I've primed this half of my face, I like to keep the application method the same, but feel free to use whatever you feel comfortable with. And as you can see, it's definitely not, like, don't be scared by the radiant thing. That doesn't necessarily mean dewy. I think by radiant they mean skin-like and not mask-like. So radiance isn't always a bad thing, especially if you do have active breakouts, because you don't want things to look too dry there. So as you can see, there's a little bit of glow to my skin versus this side. And I find Syracuse is a really good match for me. I've been really happy with Syracuse. So that is what it looks like. I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna build it up too much because I find, and I've said this 100 times over, but I find if I build up things too much, then that's when they get oily. So I built the foundation up to about a pretty strong medium coverage. I feel like it did a really good job building on the breakouts that I have on my skin along with the redness, because am I ever noticing how much your skin affects the wear of your makeup? I've had acne my entire life, but I've been having really, really big cystic acne lately, not to get too graphic, but I'm having a really hard time just enjoying putting makeup on my face at all because I just don't like the way that it looks. So this is doing a pretty good job, especially over this area of my face, because it doesn't have that dry cakiness to it and because I didn't build it up too much. So you can see there's a little bit of dewiness on my cheeks. It still is a little bit sticky on my face. I set everything that touches my face, no matter how matte it is. So overall, I do really like the way that this looks. If you have a more dry skin type, you may not want to set this, but I'm not totally sure because it does have a little bit of that stickiness to it, but it's not uncomfortable by any means. Feels quite lightweight as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some flash photos and put on the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. I have all of my makeup on now, and as always, everything I'm wearing will be listed down below, but so far things look really good. And one thing that I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention earlier is that Cheryl and I tend to have very similar foundation preferences, which is odd because we have completely different skin types, so I'm curious to see how she likes this one. But so far I really like the way that it looks. Primed versus unprimed, things are looking quite similar. I'm not seeing a huge difference, so we'll kind of check in and see how that kind of affects the longevity and wear of it as well. But in the photo test, things looked really, really good. When I took a photo just here with my lighting, as always, it looks good. But there's a little bit of a sheen to my skin. You can see that for sure in the flash photo. Lights will always enhance any kind of shininess on the skin. I don't think it looks oily or greasy, but as I mentioned, I powder everything. Then I took a photo on my phone with flash just to kind of double check, and I thought it looked good. There wasn't any flashback, but it didn't look as warm on my skin. And then when I took a flash photo here with my filming camera, things again looked quite good. So overall, really impressed. I love the shade match on my skin. I love the way that it looks. So I'll check back with you in some natural light. We'll be able to take a closer look and you'll be able to see it a little bit better in front of some natural light and see how it holds up over the next couple hours. Okay, so I'm coming to you super up close and personal in some natural lighting with a messy background. I just could not be bothered, I'm sorry, to tidy things up. But I'm gonna do a little bit of blotting and powdering, but things look really good. I've had a pretty chill day. I am just doing some editing. I filmed some videos after this one, and I've been watching the Olympics because I love the Olympics. Let me know if you are watching them as well and what your favorite kind of event is. But things feel really good on my skin. The oil started to come through about 2 hours in, but it doesn't feel heavy or cakey on my skin. And it has not oxidized either, so things look really good. There is a little bit of oiliness coming through. I have incredibly oily skin, so that's nothing new to me. I'm gonna do a little bit of powdering now. Those were the Avon blotting sheets, and I'm using the CoverGirl Outlast All Day powder with my Real Techniques contour brush to powder. But as you can see, things look good. I feel like maybe my little pimple here is starting to poke out, but otherwise things look good. They still look really smooth on my skin. If you can see the close-up, I mean, I obviously have a lot of texture here, so it's not as smooth, but I think things look really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and wear this for a few more hours, and I will check back with you at the end of the night. It's now the end of the day, and I think that things look really good. As always, my lights make things look more shiny than what they actually are. I just took a close look at my face in the bathroom mirror, and I was like, I barely look shiny at all. And then when I get in front of these lights, like immediately I'm like, whoa, I look way shinier. So keep that in mind, but overall things look really good. I lost a little bit of foundation around my nose. I've kind of been touching my face a lot today. Shouldn't be doing that, but I spent a little time kind of leaning on my arm, and I don't see anything that has patched away here, just a little bit there on my nose. And I lost a little bit of foundation around this kind of big breakout here, but it didn't patch away in a way that looks really obvious. So I'm gonna do a little bit of blotting. It still feels really comfortable on my skin. I'm gonna remove this afterwards, but it's not because I want to take it off my face. I'm done for the day basically, and I don't want to wear makeup anymore, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable. I could absolutely wear this for a few more hours. I didn't have like a crazy like busy day where I was like rushing around or anything like that. I'm just kind of sitting and doing work, but I have worn this to events. I've worn it on days where I'm going out, and I have really liked it every single time. And I am going to do just a really light powder. I don't feel like it has oxidized. I still think it looks quite fresh on my skin. It doesn't look like old and worn. My blush and bronzer and highlight. Highlight I've lost a little bit, but it's my first time wearing that highlight today. So it does look still really good on my skin. Everything is still there. Primed side is looking slightly more matte than the unprimed side, but they both held up really, really well. And did I say that I don't think it oxidized? I don't feel like it oxidized. It stayed the nice same color that it was when I originally put it on my skin. So overall, I absolutely love this foundation. I will continue to wear it. I think the shade match for me is really great. I love the coverage. It's not too heavy by any means. It does really well over my breakouts, and I used it when I didn't have breakouts as well, and it looked beautiful. I've worn this day, night, for a few hours, for a much longer time, and I think it's always held up really well. If you do have a crazy oily skin type like myself and you are looking for like the most mattifying foundation ever, this may not be it, but at the same time, I think that it looks so beautiful and natural on the skin as it claims, and that to me can be a lot more flattering than something that is too matte, and I'm totally okay to powder and blot throughout the day to keep that balance instead of having something look too dry on my skin, which is a very rare case anyways. And I do feel like even if I didn't blot tonight, I would still wear this foundation out because I am not followed around by studio lighting, and it looks much better outside of the studio lights. So really, really impressed with this foundation. I think it's got a huge shade range, so you should be able to find a shade for yourself. If you have a more combination or normal skin type, I think you'll really like this as well. If you have dry skin, we're gonna have to wait to see what Cheryl says about it. As always, her review will be linked down below if you'd like to see how it worked on her skin, but I'm pretty sure she likes it quite a bit, and I know I do too. So again, another unicorn foundation that we both love. So be sure to go check out her review, send her some love. She is absolutely fabulous. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!